Oh dear, remember this. This is something I showed in a previous video. It's something about my Avermedia Gamecapture HD2. I am not able to record any HDMI protected signals. Or can I? Well, I have found a way. I found a way to circumvent it, but it does not involve a HDMI splitter that most people would use, because I've actually bought two and they don't seem to be stripping the HDCP, but I found another way. Remember that I used a DVD recorder to route the signal over the component input on the Avermedia. Well, that's kind of what I did here. I chained together a really cheap Scart to HDMI converter with a HDMI to component converter. It's a little bit of an unorthodox method, and it's kind of a MacGyverish solution, but it works really well. And this allows me to capture the HDMI up-converted signal in 720p with the Avermedia. It also is suitable for less legitimate purposes, such as capturing Blu-ray movies, but you should not do that. But if you wanted, you could do this with this method, although it's not going to give you the best quality, because the audio will be stereo, and Blu-ray movies will have often multi-channel audio, so you're going to lose that. But as you can see, I am capturing a little bit of Batman here, and this is now recording. It no longer has HDCP. First it goes from the Scart to HDMI converter, which digitizes the analog Scart signal, and then the digital HDMI is converted back to analog again, to component format, and the Avermedia then digitizes that again. Yes, it sounds convoluted, but as you can see here, it is actually recording. That's the flashing recording light. So yeah, it works alright. It can do up to 1080i. That's a limitation of the component standard. It's not so much a limitation of the converter. It's just that Hollywood doesn't want you to be able to do 1080p over component. So that's why I do it in 720p. And this is also why a Blu-ray rip will not be in the best quality. Seriously, if you want the best quality for that, you'd probably have to use software. It's a lot more practical, and well, it depends on your country whether you are allowed to make a copy for personal use. In some countries you are allowed to do that. For instance, in the Netherlands we have a sort of tax on recordable media, and yeah, you are kind of allowed to make a copy for personal use, but I'm not going to do that with this setup. It's just for game recording. And here is the box of the converter. I think this is a Lankan converter, just like the Scart to HDMI thing. It's one of those cheap Chinese things. And yeah, it works alright. The Scart to HDMI converter isn't that great. I mean, it's no FrameMeister, but it gets the job done. And I don't really mind about the lag issues, because I use my CRT TV to play the game, and my Scart switcher has a dual output capability, because it's something that me and my dad designed and built, and I specifically wanted two identical amplified video outputs. So one Scart goes to the TV and the other one goes to the cheap Chinese converter. And as you can see, this is recorded through this method. Here are some sample clips, and I think it looks alright. It is of course stretched to 16 by 9. Well, personally, yeah, it could be a little bit off-putting to some, but I gotten used to it. I've already recorded one review with this method. In the upcoming video there will be a review of the 1989 Batman movie games from Sunsoft, and they are recorded through this method. And I think the image looks nice and sharp. It's very clean. You have no more interlace problems. It just looks good. Yeah, even though it's not FrameMeister quality, it at least looks good. Still you have a few weird artifacts sometimes, but yeah, it can almost rival emulator quality output. I think this is more than serviceable and quite usable. At least I now can record from using original hardware without to use that finicky Raspberry Pi thing, even though I bought a PlayStation 2 to USB controller adapter to make it usable. But hey, at least I have now got several ways to do this. And yeah, this looks alright. I think the Mega Drive footage in particular, when it's captured from RGB, looks, well, pretty good. And here are some samples from the NES. This is of course composite video, because my NES is not RGB modded, I still use it in composite. And I think it looks serviceable. This is Zen Intergalactic Ninja, a kind of rare game from Konami, a very late release, kind of an odd game. Has some good graphics and some good sound. Gameplay is alright, but still it's, well, Konami have done better in some ways, especially in the gameplay department. This game is mostly a looker, but not so strong in terms of gameplay. Still, it's a nice curiosity, even though this game was kind of expensive. But yeah, I think it looks reasonably well. And in the next clips you'll see something from Batman and from Predator 2 on the Sega Mega Drive, which was also done in RGB. Oh, correction, that was not the Mega Drive, but Sega Master System you're going to see, where I show Predator 2. And finally we end the video with a sample clip from Castlevania Chronicles on the PlayStation 1, recorded from a PlayStation 2. So you'll see actually a PlayStation 2 booting up into PlayStation 1 mode, and well, you see nice RGB output from a PlayStation 1 game. So that was enough rambling for now. I'd say just enjoy the sample clips and see what you think of it. I think it looks marvelous, and well, I think it's good enough. So I will not continue to ramble on and just enjoy the clips.